Okay. Ladies and gentlemen,
Are you on, Frank? Is your mic
I
on?
believe I'm on. This is the Town of Walton Zoning Board of Adjustment Public Hearing Agenda, Thursday, May 9th, 2026, at 6:01 PM in the Alton Town Hall. I'm calling the meeting to order, and can I get an appointment of an alternate, please, since we only have 3 members of the board here?
I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Manzioni as a member for this evening.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So, statement of the appeal process. The purpose of this hearing is to allow anyone concerned with an appeal to the Zoning Board of Adjustment to present evidence for or against the appeal. The evidence may be in the form of an opinion rather than an established fact. However, it should support the grounds that the board must consider when making a determination. The purpose of the hearing is not to gauge the sentiment of the public or to hear personal reasons why individuals are for or against an appeal, but all the facts and opinions based on reasonable assumptions will be considered. In the case of an appeal for a variance, the board must determine facts bearing upon the 5 criteria as set forth in the state statutes. And for a special exception, the board must ascertain whether each of the standards set forth in the zoning ordinance have been or will be met. Could I get each member to state your name, please? Okay, for the record.
Sure. Tom Lee, Vice Chair.
Paul LaRochelle, member and Selectman's representative.
Paul Manzioni, I'm an alternate member.
Frank Rich, member and chair of the ZBA.
Robin McLean, Planning Zoning Assistant.
Thank you, Robin. Okay, so moving right along, the approval of the agenda. Do I get a motion on the approval of the agenda? Is there any changes, Robin, to the agenda? Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, first up, case Z26-08, Sean Hillgroves, agent for 47 Loon Cove LLC owner. If you'd step forward, thank you. All right. Just give us a minute, please, Paul. Okay. Are you going to be, Paul, are you going to be representing? Okay, because your name is not here. Okay.
Could be.
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Yep.
I just didn't see it on the front page. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may ask a question on the issue of whether the application can be accepted as complete. If the only thing that's changed is it's now here for special exception, this was an application, this is a continued application, so it was accepted previously at the prior hearing as complete. As long as there are no major alterations, I'm not sure that has changed.
So duly noted. Since I wasn't here, I
Right.
wouldn't have known that.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Manzioni.
You're welcome.
Okay. Oof. All righty. Paul.
So the meeting was continued because actually this is a new application. Because we came in 2 months or 3 months before, and that was when the town meeting was coming, and you were having some amendments to the zoning, and those amendments affected this application because I came in before for a special exception and equitable waiver. And that's when we discussed this and said, well, we can table it or whatever and come back and just, if it passes, then we just have to come in for the special exception. And that's what we're in here for now. I can't remember why it got continued last time. At the last meeting?
It got continued last time because by the time the posting wouldn't
Oh,
have been, the
yeah.
posting wouldn't have been
I
in
guess we
time.
were late getting it in, or didn't meet the deadline.
But it's the same application.
Yes.
Yeah. The one that's been accepted is the one we have.
This one hasn't been accepted yet as complete, correct?
Well, it's the same case number with, instead of a variance, a special exception. It was my understanding it was going to be the same case, but I changed it from the variance to the special
All right, I just want to
exception.
make sure everything copacetic.
So it's still case
Same
08.
case.
All right.
To make sure that we're argumentatively more thorough than not, can we please look at this and approve the application one more time? Let's just do it by the numbers.
I'll make a motion to accept the application for case Z 26-08.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
So we're here
Yep.
for a special exception to add living space to an existing building that is a trailer, which is going to actually be torn down and a stick-built structure be built and also moved so it's out of the setbacks. So we're making a non-conforming structure, more conforming. It was a rental before, it's going to be a rental, long-term rental. So the uses haven't changed, even though it has, I noticed there was a letter and some things about non-conforming uses and being abandoned. Well, it wasn't rented, because, how long have you had it? A year. So there's 12 months, and of course, they wanted to replace it, so that's why we're here. So that's why it hasn't been rented for 12 months. How long was it not rented before that?
I'd have to ask Jeremy,
Yeah, so,
a year or two.
in that letter, it was stating something about non-conforming uses, and if it's abandoned for 18 months or whatever. But this has been a rental, it always will be a rental, so the use hasn't changed. We're only here for a non-conforming structure. So, other than that, the last time I brought up all the other trailers that were in the setbacks, but those were grandfathered. We came to that conclusion, I believe. Until something is to be changed, then we would come in and fix it then. Because they're all owned by other people. Yours is the only one that's not owned by someone else. And he had stated that as those people would want to sell, he would get first dibs. If he would buy it, he would then replace the trailer with a stick-built and take the ones that are in the setbacks and move them so they're out of the setbacks. So each and every time he'll sit there and make everything more conforming than they are now. I don't know if I can explain anything else, other than what we've already gone through before.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, at the last meeting on this, excuse me, I went over with you the calculation of the increase of square footage because the zoning ordinance has a limit as to how much additional square footage can be added. And we did that math. On the second page of the letter that we received, which you have a copy of, actually, it's the third page. In the second full paragraph on that page, it does a gross floor area calculation. And
Oh,
comes, yeah,
excuse me one second. Sean, could you put your
Mic on.
Mic on? Thank you.
apparently it comes to the conclusion that you're exceeding the total square footage, that's.
Is this the footprint?
Well, if you could look at that, what they're saying, my question simply is, are they correct in that paragraph? I know it's kind of a public input thing, because it's in the form of a letter, but it's something that we have looked at, and that's something I have a question about now. It's the paragraph that starts with gross floor area is defined as the total enclosed area of a building. It does not include open porches or decks. It does include all levels, et cetera. Then it goes on to talk about the total square footage, and then it talks about, under the ordinance, there's a limitation of how much additional square footage can be added, and this comes to the conclusion that, yeah. It says more, the application to enclose the porch will add 48 square feet more than is permitted.
Well, we measured the building up, and that's the square footage we came up with. The assessors, they go out and they measure up too. They're not always right. So, I don't know what to say about that.
Okay.
So the footprint is not gonna change in square footage. It's gonna add a second floor. So, I guess you can take that and double it if you want, that's living space.
Have to look at 320E2.
In the setback. Do I interpret this correctly? Conversion of a deck, porch, or patio in the setback, but if it's out of the setback, does that change it?
Yeah.
So in other words, they're looking at alteration of non-conforming structure to be enlarged or altered in any way which increases non-conformity, conversion of a deck, porch, or patio in the setback to the living space shall be considered to be an increase in non-conformity, but if you take it out of the setback, it's no longer. Do I interpret that correctly?
You want to say it again, Paul?
On section 300E, 1, alteration, non-conforming structure may be enlarged or altered in a way which increases non-conformity. Conversion of a deck, porch, or patio in the setback in the living space shall be considered to be an increase in non-conformity. That's if it's in the setback. If it's removed from the setback, that changes. If I interpret that correctly.
Well, it says, no non-conforming structure may be enlarged or altered in a way which increases non-conformity.
Right.
And then, conversion of a deck, porch, or patio in the setback to living space shall be considered to be an increase in nonconformity. But I agree that it's clearly says that the deck, porch, or patio have to be in the setback.
In order to
In order
to
to-
increase the nonconformity.
Right, to be prohibited from.
But if it's pulled out of the setback, it is no longer considered the nonconformity.
And
the
so
way
the-
that I interpret it.
And so then the question would be, can you turn it into living space? But does this application propose to convert a deck, porch, or patio into a living space?
Yes,
Okay,
but we're taking it out of the setback,
right.
making it so it falls, that it's not in the setback.
And right now, as it sits, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes,
as it sits, it's 6.5 feet or 6.7 feet from the property line. And when you pull it away, it'll be what? I still see it, it shows it away, but you're pulling it back beyond the 10-foot setback.
Oh, yeah, the red line is setback, so you can see that we're beyond that by a couple feet.
Yes. Right here.
so the
They're pulling it
the
back.
red lines on this, are
Are the setbacks.
Are the setbacks.
Now, how about frontage from the road?
Here it is originally.
That's, again,
What's-
that same.
the same thing,
Red
yeah.
line is the setback, so you can see we're at least 5.
So from the road, from the side setback, it's completely out of the setbacks.
Yep.
So this is in the setback, right? And this is the proposed
Yes.
outside of the setback.
Correct.
Right? Okay, I got it. Cool. Any more questions for the applicant by the board?
Just explain a little bit more on the septic system? The proposed septic system through DES, the state, and
That is approved for every one of these buildings that are on here.
for how many bedrooms?
That you'll have, I don't have those plans.
I believe it's 15 total.
15 total?
I have to apologize since I wasn't here. So that has been approved for 15 bedrooms, okay, already by the DES.
Absolutely.
That's correct. And do we have that on file? The DES septic approval?
Did you submit that?
Not unless it was in the old one.
It's on the plan, the approval number.
Oh, good.
Yes. If I may again, Frank?
Sure.
You mentioned that the use is not changing and that it would still be seasonal.
No, that one's not seasonal.
That
The
one's
rest of
not
the trailers are seasonal.
Are they gonna remain? The other ones will be
Yeah,
remaining
so
seasonal?
on the state septic design, they made me put seasonal on those other 4 trailers, so those cannot be used year-round.
Okay.
But this one can, and then obviously the house can.
And that one is, the intent, I think you said, was not to be short-term rental, would be a
It's gonna
full-time
be
rental?
full-time rental. Yeah.
Full-time, year-round
Yep,
rental?
yeah, long-term, like 1-year lease plus, so.
Sean, if I can,
Yes, go ahead.
okay, so let's just define long-term rental. Long-term rental is one person renting it long-term or long-term Airbnb type of rental?
No, like long-term, like, you wanna rent my house, it's a 2-bedroom, you sign a 1-year lease, you stay there a year. If you wanna renew the lease, you do. If you move out, I find somebody else for a year. And, you know, I'm hoping to find somebody that just wants to stay there, so.
I think we have a definition of short-term rental.
We do.
Right, so
We do.
I think if it's not short-term rental, then it's probably long-term rental.
Yeah.
And I think
Anything over 30 days.
over 30 days, right. You can't go 30, yeah,
Long-term rental is over 30 days.
over 30 days, right.
Short-term rental.
Otherwise, it would be short-term
before 30
rentals,
days.
right, like the
Anything under
Airbnb.
30
So it's
days.
gonna be long-term rental.
Correct.
Yeah,
Be a 1-year lease.
I mean, yeah, but leases can be broken and,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But it's a lease that's gonna be over 30 days.
Yes.
Okay. More questions from the board? Mr. Monzioni, you're looking at something that always concerns me.
Yes. So I'm just making sure that E2, 320E2, is correct in terms of what this application is being brought under, which is replacement of non-conforming structures, and you are replacing this trailer with a stick-built.
Please take your time.
No, I'm good,
Okay,
thank you.
because we certainly want to make sure that it's right.
I'm good.
And I have all night, okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board before I put it to public?
I think I'm good.
Does the applicant have anything more that they want to talk about or say?
I don't think so.
Okay?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, so we're going to, open it up to public input? And is there anyone in the audience, okay, that would like to speak in favor of this plan? Seeing none, hearing none?
Come back. Never mind, go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
Are you in favor of this plan? Or are you-
Oh, yes, I'm in favor.
Oh, okay. Then you don't want to speak again, do you?
No, I
Okay.
said my speech.
All right. Okay. Seeing none, hearing none, is there anyone that is opposed to this applicant's plan? And we're going to take it one by one, okay? So we'll start at the first row, the back. Okay, we can start with you, ma'am, please. Thank you. If you would state your name and where you lived, and if you're in a butter, okay?
My name is Ann Norman Cito. I live at 15 Watson Point Road, which is a road that abuts the sideline of this property. I was noticed as an abutter. I'm the one who wrote you that rather lengthy letter, and I want to clarify some of that. But I'm going to read you this quick letter that I wrote, because I do not speak well in public, and I tend to speed read, so if I go too fast, just please say, slow down. But anyway, so as a follow-up to the letter I submitted to the board, I urge you not to grant the special exception to tear down and enlarge this trailer that has been vacant for many years. It is not only a non-conforming structure, it is also a non-conforming use. The proposed structure is a more intensive use than the present structure, with more gross living area than the current nonconformity. This will lead to further overcrowding of the land compared to the historic non-conforming use of the structure and site. The trailer should be considered abandoned, as it's been vacant for several years, probably 5 to 8 years, not just a year. I walk by it virtually every day, and I've watched it over the years. I also believe the application should be denied, and this is in reference to what Paul was talking about, as it does not meet the additional exception requirements to expand a non-conforming use, as noted in section 320D3. The application seeks to expand the building area more than 10% of the gross floor area of the existing building at the time it became non-conforming, which is not allowed per section 320D3-E. Because it's a non-conforming use, I think you really need to consider those regulations as well as what they're applying for. I would argue that the existing floor area, which does not include any porches or decks, was 272 square feet, the size of the original trailer at the time it became non-conforming. I would estimate the 144 square foot addition was likely built after zoning was adopted in 1970, and likely sometime in the 1980s. No permits on file for it. As noted, this will lead to a more intensive use of this non-conforming property, making this trailer larger by converting the porch to living space with a walkout first level and a second level, could more than double the existing living space of this one-story trailer that's on piers. I don't think any increase in the living space nor abasement should be allowed. The application to convert the 48 square foot porch into living space with 2 levels could increase the size from 416 square feet of living space to up to 928 square feet. The 160 square foot deck was not specifically mentioned in the notice or in the application and should not be considered. If he does intend to convert the deck, the living space could increase to as much as 1,248 square feet with the 2 levels he's proposed. Both scenarios would certainly change the capacity of the number of tenants that could live there. It is even more concerning that it will be by an off-site landlord. As we know, often areas that aren't approved as bedrooms per septic design become additional sleeping areas. Just look at ads for short-term rentals that say 2 bedrooms, sleeps 6 to 8 people. The prior owners lived in the main house, had long-term tenants in the barn apartments, and kept a well-maintained property. 4 of the 5 trailers have been owner-occupied as seasonal vacation/weekend homes with little impact on the abutters or the neighborhood. As was noted in the minutes of the first meeting, and as he suggested tonight, the applicant plans to purchase the other trailers as they become available and do the same thing as the trailer in question. He received approval for a 15-bedroom septic system design with 4 of the trailers designated as seasonal, as he mentioned. So there's potential for 30-plus people living on the property with an off-site landlord. All of the existing trailers are small and range in size from 416 square feet of living space to 684 square feet. I'm hopeful that you will take this into consideration in your decision-making for this special exception and do not set a precedent for all of the other trailers. It is now an income-producing property with an off-site landlord. If he is able to purchase the other trailers, they are designated as seasonal and will likely become short-term rentals as they cannot be year-round rentals. I hope that maximizing his investment will not come at the cost of the abutters or the neighborhood. And again, I really want to stress that it's not only a non-conforming structure, it's part of a non-conforming use, and expanding that structure will expand the non-conforming use beyond what is allowed for expanding a non-conforming use. In addition, several of the criteria for meeting a special exception and/or variance are not met, including the request should be denied as the site is not an appropriate location for the use, as expansion of the structure will increase the capacity for the number of tenants and will lead to a more intensive non-conforming use of the property. Nor is it in the spirit of the ordinance. It's in the Lakeshore Residential Zone, where zoning only allows for 1 dwelling with a unit with an ADU. Zoning was adopted in 1970 and, as noted in the master plan, was designed to limit further dense development around the Lake Winnipesaukee. In addition, there is objection from every abutter I've spoken to and others in the neighborhood. I've been involved in the real estate profession for about 40 years and recently retired after 32 years as a real estate appraiser in the Lakes region. In my educated opinion, the granting of this special exception will likely have a negative effect on abutting properties. The increase in living space will lead to more tenants, creating nuisances to abutters with more traffic, more parking, noise, more trash, overflowing dumpsters, trash all over the road. Unfortunately, there's not enough local data to support a qualified adjustment for how much it will diminish property values. I reached out to the chief appraiser of the firm I worked with for many years. He's dealt with zoning issues for much of his 50-year career. He gave me examples of a few studies that referenced the potential influence of externalities on sales prices. One study published in the Appraisal Journal concluded that real estate exposed to external obsolescence experienced an average reduction of approximately 6% on the return of investment. Other articles referenced research by the Appraisal Institute that indicated, and I'm not going to say, I don't know if they're going to be a bad neighbor, but bad neighbor influences such as visibility issues, noise, parking, congestion, or short-term rental activity in neighborhoods primarily composed of owner-occupied single-family homes can reduce home values by as much as 10%. Shifting from existing conditions with small 1 to 2 bedroom trailers ranging in size from 416 square feet to 684 square feet to a larger rental unit for this trailer and potential for larger units for other trailers will be a significant change. The proposed structure generates higher appeal than the existing structure for rentals. He says it's going to be long-term, but if it's ever short-term or a seasonal rental, the expansion of the gross living area can result in non-conforming levels of occupancy, which not only creates nuisance for abutters, but also can create regulatory challenges for the municipality. Towns including Alton have begun regulating short-term rentals due to complaints from neighbors stemming from friction from neighbors and landlords and their tenants. Often septic limitations are ignored, and there are too many tenants, too many cars for space allotted for parking, more trash, noise day and night, and trespass on abutting properties. And again, I really want to stress that it's not only a non-conforming structure, it's a non-conforming use. And increasing the square footage, even on this one trailer from 416 square feet to potential 800 to 1,200 square feet is going to be a significant difference in who's going to live there, how many people are going to live there, how many people that can hold instead of, 1 to 3 people in a 416 square foot building. So anyway, I just hope that you really consider that it's more than just a non-conforming structure, it's a non-conforming use, and I really think it's going to be a more intensive non-conforming use than what it is now.
May I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Just to clarify, because what we want to do is make sure our function is limited to the facts that apply to the zoning ordinance and to make a determination whether the applicant meets the criteria. And so we stay focused on the specific criteria that apply to us. Like, for example, some of the things you're describing would be associated with short-term rentals, like parking problems, noise, trash, lots of people, et cetera. We have to focus on what the applicant is telling us is actually going to be there. So the first question I have, when you say non-conforming use, from our understanding of that term, what is it you are referring to that is the non-conforming use?
Well, it's in the Lakeshore Residential Zone. There's a house with an attached barn with 2 apartments. There's 5 trailers, one of which is this one.
Can I just stop you 1 second? So when this was here before us the last time, and we actually explored that a little bit, my understanding is that this lot has a number of trailers and that people can inhabit, like kind of living structures, which, by the way, violates zoning. Okay,
Right.
we don't allow that. But this has existed before zoning. Okay, so now you have all these structures out there. This one may be dilapidated or in horrible condition, an eyesore.
Or even abandoned.
Okay, taking down values, whatever, but there it is, it's existed. The use that we've been told is involved in this is residential use. That's it, residential use. So whatever a person who had a residential structure in Alton could use it for, a rental, a residence, a part-time residence, whatever, we apply the term residential use and all that goes with it. If you bought a house, that's a residential use. Now, if they wanted to operate a business out of that structure, that would be a change of use. That would be a non-conforming use. But Lakeshore Residential allows, residential use on all the structures that are there. So what the applicant is coming before us and saying is, I want to take this trailer that's old and been there forever, and instead of a trailer, I want to make it a nice stick-built structure for the same purpose that it's always been. Now, the question of abandonment has to be 18 consistent months or more with no proven intent to continue to use it in that manner. So if someone came in and showed somebody abandoned the intent to ever have a structure, a residential structure there, then maybe it was abandoned and maybe they don't have the right to go forward. But in the absence of a proven abandonment of intent, the intent was abandoned along with the building, we couldn't find that it's been abandoned and the use is residential, still the same. So if they weren't to get this approval, they could just go and use that trailer the way it's been being used up till today in the same manner. What they're proposing is to fix it up, make it safer, more inhabitable. This is how I understand their proposal. And they are restricted in terms of how they can expand it. A one-bedroom structure may be increased to 2 bedrooms with the installation of a septic. 2 bedrooms cannot be extended beyond that. This is all in 320E2. So
D2, or, yeah, E2, yeah.
E2.
Yep.
So if there are things that this application is proposing to do that violate those restrictions or requirements, then I think we would have to deny the application. So if you had, if there's something we should know about that beyond what you've told us.
I still argue that they're expanding the non-conforming use. They're expanding the size of the building, which expands the intensity of the use.
But you have to have a non-conforming use to begin with. In other
It
words.
is a non-conforming use.
Well, what I'm saying is that if it's being used for residential is a use that's permitted in that zone.
But
So the actual use.
multifamily residential use is not permitted in that zone.
Right, so there shouldn't be all those individual structures on one lot anyway.
Right.
That's what makes it non-conforming. So we agree it's non-conforming, but our zoning ordinance says if somebody wants to replace a non-conforming structure, they're allowed to do that, provided they meet the requirements of E2, 320E2. So if they don't meet the requirements of 320E2, then I think the board has to deny it. If they meet the requirements of 320E2, then I think the board has to approve it.
So you don't consider the section on expanding of non-conforming use, non-conforming uses should not be altered, expanded, or changed, except that minor changes that meet the criteria below may be allowed by special exception.
So you're talking use again.
Yeah,
So
and
let's-
again, I think
okay,
he's making it a more intensive use of that property.
I understand.
And
All I'm saying, let me just say, suppose, for example, he was selling things out of that structure, so it was a business use.
Yeah, I get that.
Which is not permitted.
Right.
If he wanted to expand that use, make a bigger store, put an extra refrigerator in it or something, he couldn't expand the use unless he met the criteria for expanding non-conforming use. Here, he's trying to expand a non-conforming structure, and the use stays the same. It's residential.
Again,
I
I
know.
think it's
I
just-
hear what you're saying. I
It's a more
understand it,
intensive
but-
use. In any case, there are plenty of objections by abutters, and I think you need to consider all of those, and I'll agree to disagree. All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Please state your name, and if you're an abutter, and your address, please.
Paul Mason, and I directly abut the structure that they're proposing this use to. I have lived there for 15 years. No one has been living there. The front door has been wide open. It is the definition of abandonment. If you go look at it, creatures are going in and out of it. So it is not currently being used as a residence. It has not been used as a residence for years, because I've been there, I'm next to there, I'm there year-round. It's not plowed in the wintertime, there's been zero activity in it. It is, in my opinion, the definition of an abandoned building, and that's, as the abutter, that's all I really want to add. I think my other neighbors have done more detail into the zoning issues, but as far as calling it continued use, it hasn't been used. That's what I want to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name address, please? Okay, and if you're in a butter.
My name's Sid Tyner. I live at 20 Watson Point Road, which is a piece of property abutting the proposed application for a special exception. Been there for many years and a year-round resident. So I wanted to express some concerns with respect. I know that, Paul, you spoke to intended use, but I'd just like to add a lot to what Ann said and to what some of the other neighbors feel right now. So I'm assuming you got my letter and you had an opportunity to read it, okay? I would ask you, though, has any board members been to Watson Point Road? Has anybody been there?
I mean,
You have? Okay,
Yep.
great. So just with respect to the character of the neighborhood, because I don't think this should go unsaid, it's a very low-density neighborhood. It's made up of 7 whole homes, in which 4 are waterfront properties and a cul-de-sac private road. Minimal turnover. Quite frankly, I don't think there's been any turnover since I've been there. So one of the concerns with respect to potential use or intended use is just the loss of serenity of the neighborhood, and quite frankly, just changing that whole area. So this is the first time that I heard mention of the intended use of the trailer in which they're applying for a special exception. I did have an opportunity to listen to the meeting on YouTube TV, and not once during that meeting did I hear any intent as to what's going to happen with that property, what the use would be, okay? So I do have some concerns. It is going to be, from my understanding, a walkout with a second story on it, approximately 25 feet high, from a 17-foot roof line right now. And, you know, with respect to being a long-term rental, I know that they alluded to a 1-year lease. To the definition of it, is anything over 30 days would be considered long-term. Am I correct in saying that? Okay. So the concern is a precedent being set, and what I like to call a leading indicator, because, you know, I'm a business person, and quite frankly, my intent, there are long-term life leases there right now. I know the applicant doesn't own the trailers, but he owns the property. And so there are leases there right now. So it was stated at the last meeting that the intent moving forward would be to get this piece of property done, and then moving forward, purchase the other units that are there and emulate what he's doing with the first unit, the one he's applying for today. Those properties fall directly on my fence line as it relates to setback. There might be 5 feet, maybe 8 feet delta between the fence line and my house. So the precedent being set is, as a business person, and I'm not a mind reader and I can't speak for the applicant, but I am very concerned, as is most of the neighborhood, that they will become short-term rentals. They will become an Airbnb type property. If you've been there, and you have, you can see that it's not a very big parcel of land. It's busy already with the renters that are there, compared to the low uses, low density that it's been in the past. The people who owned it in the past, I mean, the people who are there now, it's an absolute comparable fit with the neighborhood right now. Low use, turnover, they come up on weekends. There's no noise, there's no parking, there's no trash. There's no parties that take place over there. But moving forward, and I can appreciate that you can only look at the application and what's in front of you right now, but it is a major concern as a leading indicator, and what we look like moving forward. The use of the property will become a trailer park, whether it be upscale, high-end, or whatever it may be. But to have 5 structures on that little parcel of land that is stick-built, 4th of July, motorcycle weekend, keep on going. It's absolutely going to change the makeup of that neighborhood. I am all for an ambitious person moving forward, trying to create opportunities for him or herself, but not at the expense of the neighborhood. Now, when I look at zoning laws and ordinances with respect to intent and use, You know, I refer to RSA 674, which, when we move forward, it says you absolutely positively must take into consideration usage of the property to grant a special exception and/or a variance. Lastly, I know that we haven't got there yet, but with respect to the last meeting, the word grandfathered or variance was thrown around. And again, I had the opportunity to watch it on YouTube. Those 3 trailers that fall on my fence line, and I can appreciate the fact that, you know, they may have been there, they may not have been there prior to zoning laws. They were built in 1970, 1950, does anybody really know, okay? But at the end of the day, I just can't possibly fathom the fact that you would have 1, 2, 3, 4 stick-built units there with potentially a 25-foot roof from a 17 or 12-foot roof right now, lining that property in such a small parcel of land. So again, you know, a 15, and I know, Ann, you said it best, 15-bedroom septic tank, you know, would basically allow the opportunity for 30 to 35 people to be on that lot at one time. I've owned short-term properties in the Lakes region on Winnipesaukee, and for that very reason, I don't own them anymore. I know it takes place there, I know what happens, and I just truly believe that the serenity and the makeup of the neighborhood and everybody surrounding it will positively, absolutely change. I ask that it be reconsidered, and if it does move forward, is there a restriction that can be put in place where it cannot be used for Airbnb short-term rentals? I believe that it's already been said that the 3 or the 4 that are there now cannot be used for for long-term rentals. So in my opinion, that would mean that there'd be seasonal indoor short-term rentals like an Airbnb, and that's a concern.
So, question,
Yes.
how long have you lived in that neighborhood?
2016,
And were those trailers there?
yes.
Yes, they were there. So you knew that those trailers were there?
Of course I knew they were there.
And they've been there for a long time before you. So I would imagine that most of the neighbors that are here today knew before they bought that those trailers were there.
We did. I know I did, and I can't speak for my neighbors.
I know you can't
Yeah,
speak for
but
everybody.
I knew-
I would venture to say, because I'm going to ask each individual, I didn't get a chance to ask the young lady, if when she bought her property, were those trailers there?
Oh, yes, but
Were the trailers there?
yes, very
Thank-
small trailers, not 800 to 1,200 square foot buildings.
The trailers that are there now?
Yes.
Were they there?
Yes.
Okay, so you knew that they were there? Okay. I just want to know if you knew that they were there. Okay, thank you.
So, and as I did, and when I bought the property, but again, speaking with a realtor buying the property, you know, did a very good job in explaining what the usage was. And again, very low density, very low traffic, no noise, no turnover. It's a fit for that neighborhood, in spite that there are 5 trailers on that little parcel of land. But to move forward and to set a precedent, I believe, because I'm not, you know, questioning any motive at all, but at the end of the day, if you do have lifelong leases there, why in the world am I going to buy those and rebuild them? And you already have a long-term lease there. You may want to consider that if you're going to do short-term leases a la Airbnb. Why else would I do that? And again, I'm not calling anybody out or questioning a motive, but it's a concern. And I look at it as a leading indicator and a potential precedent being set. Again, if you know that neighborhood, it's a game changer. It's a game changer.
But you do understand the criteria that we're under?
I do.
And the criteria that the applicant has done, has presented to us, okay? So we're limited to the criteria of the structure.
Correct.
not so much the use.
Well, I don't, everything that, and again, I'm not a real estate person, but I am a business person. And all the research that I've done, any thought or judgment or criterion with respect to a special exception, usage plays a major role. Am I incorrect in stating that?
If I could answer.
Sure.
So, and I hope everybody appreciates, we're not advocating for one position or another right
get
now,
it.
okay? We're in a position where we're charged with the responsibility, whether we like it or not. I can't tell you how many things I voted yes for that I hated, and how many things I voted no for that I wanted to see happen. We're restricted by the criteria, and we're not advocating one way or the other. And for us, the use that we have to consider is residential. And so, like, as an example, if all 5 of those trailers, if somebody wanted to go in there tomorrow and start fixing them all up and occupying them the way they've been occupied, and I heard the statement of the abutter who's been there 15 years, the thing is open and so forth. The other factor we have to consider is, was the intent gone? Is that evidence of an abandonment of intent? And that's something we have to take into consideration. But if those structures exist and they've been used for residential structures, some residential structures in town are only used in the summer, some are used year-round, so that all fits under residential. If tomorrow somebody wanted to go there and occupy all 5 of those trailers, one of which is an eyesore, it sounds like from the description. So I'm not sure how much of that we get to consider. You know, there are certain criteria we'll go through, and we'll see how this evidence affects, you know, a determination on whether the criterion has been met or not. But use is, you know, we have to view it as residential. And the other thing I'll say is that an applicant is restricted to what is represented at the hearing, either through the application or orally. And what we've been told is this would be a long-term rental. So Airbnb isn't even in the equation for our consideration. Maybe you're right, that someone's gonna try to turn this thing into short-term rental, it's gonna be a disaster. But if and when that happens, everybody has remedies for that in the town. That's also very strictly regulated. You have to get permits for short-term rental and so forth.
I'm aware of that.
So, and that's not tonight, that's not us.
I get it.
Right now, we're being told this is a long-term rental, residential use, the way it's always been. And, you know, and what we're being told is they're going to take something that's in horrible disrepair and redo it to make it nicer and to use it. And that's what we're hearing on that side. And we have to take that in, whether we like it or not.
I get it, and we also heard last meeting that taking that decrepit structure, making it better looking, will be ×5, right? Because that's what was alluded to in the last meeting. Does the board have the power to put a restriction or prohibiting with the zoning approval or disapproval of short-term leases?
We're permitted to impose conditions on any approval that we grant. We can impose conditions. Those conditions can't just be off the top of our heads. They have to be consistent with these criteria. But I can tell you that a requirement, if this application were approved, would be it could not be short-term rental because it's been represented to the board that it's for long-term rental. So they're restricted by virtue of that representation. They cannot use this, and if they did, they would be subject to enforcement, you know, but that's assuming it gets approved.
Right. So the applicant did already indicate it's a long-term rental. If he violates that, every neighbor in the neighborhood could go to enforcement and say, it's not a long-term rental. It's a short-term rental, and he would have to show that it's a long-term rental, or he would the enforcement officer would cease and desist him.
I can appreciate that. You know, what a way to remove that from the equation is if, you know, with the zoning approval or disapproval, a condition could be put in, and I know you just said, I completely understand, where it is long-term, it cannot be short-term, because it's why we're proving it, if we do, a long-term.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I asked the board that they consider that, though.
Thank you.
If I could just add something,
Sure,
Chair.
sure.
We've all seen the property, and there's many properties, as I'm sure you're all aware, that you can drive around the coastline of the lake, and you just shake your head, oh my goodness. And they're decrepit and they're not in good shape. And to the one abutter who states there's traffic at this one unit, and it's not human beings, it could rodents or animals of the sort. It's kind of shocking that so many, or the people that have talked so far are against, you know, improving this trailer. So I get the big picture, I understand, but the chairman's point is any one person who purchased the property and sees the area, they made a decision, this is where I want my residents to be, seasonally, long-term, whatever. And you knew, well, I would assume most people would know at some point this is gonna come calling. So it's represented here tonight that might just be best to leave everything abandoned and let rodents and animals come and go as they please, because the alternative is to have things rebuilt, cleaned up. Like, we all know, we've seen properties, you know, we've seen close to abandoned
All the time.
properties. And we've seen somebody come in and redo it, and it generally helps the neighborhood quite a bit. I hear all the concerns. It's just surprising to me that people are against this to the point where they'd rather leave this type of trailer there in that condition. But I get the big picture, and I hear all your concerns, and I think Paul stated it very well as far as our position on the board. So I just want to make those points, and doesn't sway my opinion one way or the other. But this is very rare in my term here to ever have an abutter come forward and say they don't want a property to be
To look better.
fixed up and et cetera. I hear all the concerns, so I'll leave it at that.
I'm the same way, if I may, Mr. Chairman. One of the things in town that was approved a few years ago was the master plan. And the master plan, part of it, any of the waterfront properties, there's another property, a road just before, I can't think of the name of it, right after you go over the bridge, that first left. You go down there, the homes are on top of one another. It's a very windy road. But one by one, they've been fixing them up. You go down there, and I can remember going down there 15 years ago, and they looked terrible. But one by one, the houses are being painted, fixed, redone. A couple of new homes have gone in there, and it's actually improved the property. Now, we're gonna stick to our criteria, because that's what we need to do. And I just wanted to make out my point that I also feel as though I have never seen people, abutters, don't want something to look better. That's unusual.
Well, with all due respect, and Mr. Lee, I appreciate your comments, okay? I'll use the old I was a hockey coach for years. I use an analogy, you know, it looks good in a helmet. I would rather a peaceful community without having what I think is gonna represent a commercial piece of property next to us. Because if it is gonna be short-term rentals, you can imagine that's gonna be like, with 5 structures on that piece of property. So when it looks good in a helmet, I will take peace and serenity over that any day of the week.
But again, we have this criteria.
I
And
understand.
what you're suggesting is a hypothetical.
It is, it's a leading
Okay,
indicator.
It's a
Correct, Mr.
hypothetical
Rich.
that
Yes.
you're propounding.
Yep.
That this is going to happen.
Correct.
And you have no evidence whatsoever that it's going to happen, okay?
Okay.
You know, the short-term rental legislation that was passed in the town was put forward
Just
to
for some
just
of this.
Just for
make
this
sure
reason.
there was an enforcement piece, because and some of us have all had that situation, right? We've experienced firsthand, if you live in town, you live near the lake, like most of us do, that I can speak to. And we know that when you see that term Airbnb, unless you're planning your own personal vacation somewhere, it's a bad word if you live in a vacation area like we do, because we all know the worst part of that, and nobody wants that. So there's an enforcement arm with that now, thankfully. And my last thing that I'll state, and it's been brought up a couple times, is precedent setting. I can understand where people come with the point of precedent setting, but this structure has absolutely nothing to do with the other structures whatsoever.
Not yet.
And none of us will, I can speak for the board, just based upon our history, they can bring up 10 different items on this structure down the road and say, yeah, but we have to handle that structure individually, the next case that comes forward, and the whole criteria will be gone through. And maybe none of those structures get approved for anything, maybe they all get approved for something, but we handle each one individually. And the fact this one got approved does not give carte blanche to anything else if it gets approved. Just leave it at that.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to?
Good evening.
Yes,
Good
your
evening.
name?
My name is Alan Silverberg. I live at 30 Watson Point Road. I'm not going to repeat everything that everybody else said. I'm just here for the record.
Thank you.
That I oppose this, and I want to bring up one fact. First of all, I've been there for 38 years. The first in that development. And it is going to change things. And it's an imposition and an infringement upon the people on the other side of the boundary. This is a business. It's a business for rental income. It's an investment property for business. And I want you to consider that. That has not been mentioned yet. You can't run a business, and that's what it's there for. This is a rental income business. And other than that, I go along with what everybody else said.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Norman Cito again. And yes, my family has been on that road since 1977, so yes, the trailers were there. But again, it's always been very low impact, owner-occupied, seasonal trailers, with the exception of the one trailer that was rented at some point years ago for a short period, long-term, and again, has been vacant for quite a while. And I understand that's why they can make it a year-round rental. I am not completely opposed to him rebuilding the structure or fixing up the structure, obviously, but I am really opposed to expanding it, the size. And if you do decide to grant the special exception, I really hope that you restrict it from having 2 levels. Again, I don't know if he intended to include the deck. It was not mentioned in the original application. He might have drawn it on the plan, but it wasn't stated in the notice. It just said enclose the porch. A porch is very different from a deck. A deck is an open space, and the deck is 160 square feet, which is a pretty large addition to the square footage. But again, I'm most opposed to him increasing the size of the living area. Because that changes the type of rental. I'm sorry, it will. I mean, again, I've been in the real estate business for a long time. A 416 square foot rental is much different than an 800 to 1,200 square foot rental. And it could be 1,200 square feet if he's allowed to enclose the porch and close the deck and have 2 levels. So I think you have some ability to put restrictions on a special exception. And I mean, a special exception doesn't have to be approved. It has to meet all the guidelines. The other thing you could consider is, is the use of the property actually, you know, a single-family home with trailers on it? Or is it a manufactured home park, a mobile home park? Which, as by your definition, is land upon which 2 or more manufactured homes are parked and occupied for living purposes, regardless of whether or not a charge is made for such accommodation. A park remains in single ownership with lots offered on a rental basis. So is it actually a mobile home park? And now they're gonna put stick-built units instead of mobile homes? Is that something to consider? Does that change being able to rebuild and expand these things? Again, my biggest concern is expanding them. And again, we all knew the trailers were there, but it was a very low impact. The former owners lived there forever and the people in the trailers had very low impact on the abutters or the neighborhood, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Could you give us your name and address, and if you're in a butter?
Yeah, Deborah Barnes, 13 Watson Point Road, and I'm in a butter, and I got the letter, thank you. I agree. I think structures should be clean, nice, and everything. This thing's been abandoned, again, I moved in, that's my sister Ann, 1977. I don't remember ever seeing anyone in that house, ever. So the intent of that house with the Witherby house family that was there was to leave it abandoned. That thing has trees on it, mice, everything, disgusting. I'd like it just taken down. It's got a trash can in front of it. It's disgusting, right? I'm not opposed to having it cleaned up. But again, I don't want a big, huge house over there because there's so many people already on the property. I don't know how many I think there's 3 apartments that they're renting right now. I go down there, there's 6, 7 cars. How many cars are gonna go in that house? And how many cars back there for all those? I have no problem with them cleaning it up, making it nice. I don't want a big house. Keep it the same. Keep the intent the same. If you think it hasn't been abandoned, which it has been, the intent was to keep it a small house, a mobile home, with people maybe coming in for 30 days, for a long 30 days or more, or a lease. Keep the intent the same. I don't think it's gonna be. I think he wants to make it a bigger house so he can get more people, more rent. It's a business. Al said it. It's a business. He wants to make money. He's already making money with the 3 properties. I walk my dog down that road every day. I've had to talk to the tenants to clean up the trash. It looked like the dump. They've got cars. We've had the police there. It's been a nuisance. More people is gonna create even more of a nuisance. So clean up the place, great. I agree with you. Or tear it down. But again, I'm gonna talk about just that building. Because that's what you're looking at.
That's what we're looking
I understand, and I agree with all my neighbors. I live there year-round. I retired there. I don't want it to change. And I think building a big house there is going to change the neighborhood. Fix it up. Tear it down. But don't make it bigger. Because it's going to change the intent of what that house is for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that is opposed to this?
I actually wasn't gonna speak, but now that I listened to my neighbors and stuff, I actually know Sean. He's a nice guy.
Sorry, your name?
John Flukager. I live at 24 Loon Cove.
Yeah.
We bought the property 4 years ago, and everybody knows, you drive at snail's pace on that road, correct? Yep. Ever since it's been rented, it's a speedway, and they all come from the same house. Every night, this kid comes home, you hear his music playing in his car. The cops were there the other night. There was 5 cruisers at the property the other night. I'm all for people making money or whatever, But it has changed in the last year, ever since it started being rented, with heavy traffic, speeding down the road, which no one speeds down that road. And everybody knows that you gotta go by my house to get out of there. So I know everybody in there, and everybody drives slow. And it's been the renters that fly up and down that street. And what are we gonna do, call the cops and have them come and sit there at the end of the street, you know? And it's just, it's too bad, because it's a peaceful neighborhood, and I'm all for what he wants to do and make money and stuff, but it has changed in the last year with the speeding. The cops were there. Kid, 10 o'clock at night, burning rubber on his motorcycle in the middle of the street. It was the renters. From what I understood, the last people that were here, they had a couple Rottweilers, and a lady was walking by. They were never on leashes, and went out and bit one of the neighbors. I mean, I was worried about the Rottweilers running around without leashes up the street, and they were down the street. So it has changed substantially since they have had renters there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that is opposed to it? And seeing none, hearing none, I'm going to close it to public input. Okay. Paul? Any kind of rebuttal to what the opposition has said?
I can't say anything about behavior. It's not my place. I don't live there. They've told you, I guess there's problems, but I think everything we're applying for is good. I mean, we meet everything. Again, we're not changing the use. It's residential. We're getting everything out of the setback, making it look better. I don't know what more to say.
Can I ask a question? So, my problem is that when I was here for the longest time, the first time before I had my hiatus, and I helped, write some of these zoning ordinances, we had a special exception on expansion of non-conforming structure. I don't know what happened to that. I don't know where it is. I'm looking and I can't find it, but I'm interested in knowing what is the restriction or authority. It used to be you couldn't expand, we had a specific ordinance for expanding upward or downward, put a basement or whatever. I don't see anything in the zoning ordinance regarding permitting, you've got a non-conforming structure, it was always stay within the footprint and stay within the size, and to the extent you're able, make it less non-conforming, which you guys are doing, you're taking it out of the setback. It's still non-conforming because you get more than one residential structure on one lot. But, so you're not doing anything about that, but you're not asking for two more, you're taking the one you have. But you want to put a second story on this, and I'm not finding anything in the zoning ordinance that permits the expansion. You can replace it, but I'm not seeing anything, and the only expansion allowed in the zoning ordinance is a one-bedroom structure may be increased to 2 bedrooms, and 2-bedroom structures shall not be allowed to increase. So how many bedrooms is in this? Okay, two bedrooms, so you're not expanding the
Whether there's a bedroom on
bedrooms.
the first floor or the second floor, it's still just 2 bedrooms.
Right, but I'm just,
Does it say you can expand upwards?
the thing is, it talks about replacing. We always had another zoning ordinance regarding expansion. So expansion to me is another category of changing a non-conforming structure. So if you take a non-conforming structure, now you're expanding the living space, but you're staying
Within the footprint?
within the footprint. So that I totally understand. The idea of putting a second story on it, though, we used to have a zoning ordinance that addressed expansion upward or downward. I don't know where that
But
went.
you have a limit of 35 feet.
That's a height.
That's a height.
That's a
That's a
height.
height restriction.
That's a height
Whether
restriction.
that's 1 floor or 2 floors.
Yeah, but that's different than replacing a non-conforming structure. So replacing seems to me to mean that you're taking what's there and it's old and run down and you're gonna replace it. And as part of that, you are expanding the living space. And by the way, you're enclosing a porch, but not the deck, right? Is there a porch and a deck on this?
Yeah,
Or
it's
that's
all,
one
it's
and
all
the
one,
same?
it's all
and the
one
same.
deck,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, so, okay. And that's permitted as long as the deck or porch is not in the setback. That's how I read this. But the expansion of the structure upward to add another story as part of replacement, I'm not seeing. We used to permit it under certain circumstances. I don't know where that went, but apparently the voters took it away.
Yeah, I think that's gone now.
Is there?
I'm not seeing it in the new one.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think when the expansion ordinance
Paul,
got removed.
where are you looking at this?
The only thing I see, Frank, is what we've been dealing with is the 320E2, which deals with replacement, and seems to set forth what you can and cannot do right there, and the zoning ordinance does not address expansion upward or
So
downward.
with these lake houses, or these lots on the lake where they've had these little cabins.
Yeah.
So now they're tearing the cabins down, replace it in the same footprint, but now they've got 2 floors.
They're putting in basements in some, they're putting in 2 floors, and we had an ordinance that used to deal with exactly that and allow it under certain conditions. Like, for example, you couldn't mess up somebody's view.
Correct.
Of by putting in there were restrictions on that, but I don't see anything in the zoning ordinance that allows
There's nothing in there.
replacement, expanding a non-conform, replacing, yes, expanding it upward or downward doesn't seem to be allowed in the zoning.
Okay, so number 3 on 320, in D, non-conforming uses. Expansion of the non-conforming use.
Not the use,
This is not the use?
right?
So what you're saying, Paul, is the expansion of the second floor?
Expansion of the structure, yeah. You know,
The structure.
if this was an ice cream stand, which isn't permitted in that zone, and they wanted to, put indoor seating, they'd be expanding a non-conforming use, but we're not talking about the use is residential.
We're just talking about the structure itself.
And
Where does that get applied? Okay, non-conforming structures?
yeah, 320
So that's E, right?
Correct. And then E2 is replacement of non-conforming structures. And in addition to the usual 520 special exception criteria, you also have to comply with A through D. And none of that is talking about expansion upward. It's all talking about replacement.
It just says it can go from 1 bedroom to 2 bedrooms.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay? And the structure shall not be allowed to increase the number of bedrooms. There is
you're
no
not doing.
increase in the non-conforming aspects of the structure. There are no increase in the non-conforming aspects of the structure.
So the non-conforming aspects of the structure here is that it sits in the setbacks in part. That's being remedied. They're actually, not only are they not increasing the nonconformity, they're eliminating the nonconformity in that regard. And the fact that the other thing that makes it non-conforming is it's one of several residential structures on one lot, which is not permitted under zoning.
Right.
But they're not increasing that either. No. They're keeping it 2 bedrooms. But what they want to do is expand the structure itself to a second floor. And although we used to address it,
That's not on there anymore. That was removed some years back.
So, let me ask the board this question, okay? The applicant is just talking about this particular structure, this particular trailer, this particular improvement. There are now 4 other trailers still on the lot. Am I saying this right? Just-
Yes,
That's correct.
You know, if I say something that's not correct, please
I will.
address it. And you've previously stated that, to the board, that when those homes are owned by those trailers are owned by other people.
Yep,
You don't own those trailers.
I do not know.
So I'm assuming you lease them the land?
Yes.
That's correct, okay, great. So, I think I read through the last one. Your plan is to buy those trailers at whenever you can from the existing owners and refurbish them or do something with those trailers.
Yeah, I'd like to just make it look better. That's what I'm trying to do, is just
You
make
want to
everything
improve,
look better.
let's just say you want to improve the trailer, okay? Do you want to improve it in the same way that you're improving this trailer?
So the other trailers are more like today's trailers. They're
Yeah,
12 by 60 or whatever. So those ones, I don't want to go up. I wouldn't go up with those or anything. I would just leave them and do like a mobile home, like design inside, but make them look nice outside with siding.
Low level,
One
not-
floor. This one is just tough because of the way it's laid out, to try to make anything work where it's a desirable rental.
right. So, would the applicant, when those become available, would he have to come to this board for approval of anything? Or he can just do what he wants there in terms of the refurbishing the trailers?
I think you'd have to come back and do
'Cause
the
they're
same thing for this.
Because they're in the setbacks.
You would have to come back to this board.
they're non-conforming.
Yes.
They're all non-conforming even if they're
whole
not in
thing.
the setbacks.
Right,
Yeah, 'cause
exactly.
And with
the
the
whole-
septic restriction, they're still gonna be seasonal.
Okay, so he would have to come, you would have to come back to this board for an approval to, let's say you, all of a sudden you were able to buy one.
Yeah.
Okay? You'd want to refurbish it,
You'd have to come back.
remodel it, do whatever. You would have to come back to this board.
Each and every
Each and
building you would
every
have to
time.
come back for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once this building is pulled back from the setbacks, what is the parking situation?
So in front of the deck, there's enough room to get 2 or 3 cars in there off the road. Right now, I do have a dumpster there because that's just the easiest place to put it right now. But when I build it, I am gonna move the dumpster towards the edge of the property more. But there is plenty of parking. I can fit my big work truck in there, no problem, and still have room for another car or 2 in there.
Okay. And I also, in my reading of the minutes, you don't reside there,
I do not.
and you don't plan on residing there.
No. I have a house in Barnstead.
I'm sorry?
I have a house in Barnstead. I've lived there for 20 years.
You live in that town, Barnstead? Oh, my
I grew up
goodness.
in Alton. I just couldn't afford the land.
Okay.
Now I'm paying in taxes, so.
Just goofing, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You know,
that's good.
What's the height of the existing building that's there now?
17 to 18 feet.
17 to 18
I took a
feet.
tape measure and put it up towards the peak and put it to the ground.
And what will the height be when you're,
I was guessing around 25 feet, because you got the 2 stories, and then I was figuring out the pitch. It was roughly right around 25 feet.
but you're not overlooking the water or anything?
No.
No. You're not,
What's the height of the existing building alongside it? The
The
building,
big-
the
the
large
big-
building,
the
the
big
house
The
in the
house
middle.
is probably about the same, 25 to 28 feet, because that's a 2-story older house, as is now.
Now, there's nothing across the street
Nope,
from
that's
that
state-
property.
state land.
There's nothing there.
goes up to Route
So it
11.
doesn't inhibit anybody's view of anything. Actually, this property is not, just to make it clear, is not on the lake.
No.
There's properties, the road
More than
goes behind
250
it.
from the lake, too,
Yeah,
because we didn't need to.
Say that again?
250 feet is like right at my property line from the lake.
Mm-hmm. From the
shore.
lake.
Yeah. Because we looked into that when I was doing the septic to see if I was gonna have to do any.
That's why I asked.
Yep.
so, you've heard the objections and the concerns?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, legit, I mean, like, I've had Airbnbs before. I've sold them all. I want nothing to do with Airbnb. And if I said I did, my wife would kill me. But, like, I'm just trying to make it better. And, like, right now, I could take what's there, fix it up. I know Jeremy had some renters in there. They didn't stay that long. It's, you know, it's a small place. But, I mean, I could fix it up and get people in there. It's just not the type of people I want in town. So it's like I'm trying to make it nicer to get a better small family in there, single person, somebody, you know, and give them a good place to live.
Okay, any, no, we've already done
Public
public,
input's over, yeah.
sorry. Can't do any more, no more public input. Thank you. Okay. Does the board have any more questions to the applicant? No? Okay. All right, we're gonna then go to so, case number, Tom, I'm gonna ask you to start, okay?
Okay. First one on the worksheet is acceptance. A plat has been submitted in accordance with the appropriate criteria in Article 500, Section 520B. Yes.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree. Paul?
The specific site is appropriate location for the use. The use is not changing. This is a residential neighborhood. It's a residential property. It's remaining residential. So I think the use is appropriate for this specific location.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Factual evidence is not found that the property value in the district will be reduced due to incompatible land uses. Now, I think there was legitimate concern, very well expressed, by the way. Ann did a remarkably good job of laying
Definitely.
everything out in her letters and here tonight. And I appreciate her background as an expert on this. But we're talking about whether there'd be a reduction in value of properties in the district due to incompatible land uses. And the land use isn't changing. It's been there for a long time. In fact, if anything, I feel personally that in its current condition, it would probably detract from the property, from the surrounding properties, and possibly adversely impact the value to be in a neighborhood where there's something that animals live in. But I don't see incompatible land uses.
And I'll expand on that, it is my belief that what the applicant is proposing is actually adding property value in the district for what he proposes to do.
I would agree.
And I agree as well that there's no factual evidence that the value would be diminished.
Okay, what is? I would say that there is no valid objection from abutters based on demonstrationable facts. There is conjecture, there is hypotheticals. The applicant has demonstrated that what he's trying to do with that particular trailer. So although there are objections by the abutters, I don't believe that they're based on demonstrable facts, but more hypotheticals of what may happen in the future, based on a very difficult piece of property that, as Mr. Monzioni said, we need to work on just the criteria. We may not like the idea of the fact that there are 5 trailers on this property. That's not what we're here for, unfortunately. So I believe there's no valid objection based on demonstrable facts for what the applicant is seeking.
First off, I think Paul Monzioni just mentioned it, you know, the objections and when people come forward in favor and/or against any specific proposal, it's so welcome because we want to hear all sides. We want to be educated on neighborhoods and what's transpiring, et cetera. We're also bound by the ordinances that we have to abide by, state law, and I also believe there was no valid objection from abutters based on the demonstrable fact instead of the hypotheticals or what could be.
And I also agree that although we've heard some good information from abutters and concerns and serious concerns, but some concerns that have not been able to be demonstrated because it's speculation. So we have to go by our criteria, and I have to agree that although we did hear a lot of good preparation, that there's no demonstrable fact that we heard here tonight.
I'm going to disagree with the 3 of you and say that there is valid objection from abutters based on demonstrable fact, and specifically what I would say was a valid objection is this is a replacement of a trailer to a stick-built structure, and there's a proposal for a 2nd story. And first of all, if you're replacing a trailer for a trailer, but we're going from a trailer to a built structure, in my mind, under the zoning ordinance, to do that would have to be as close to a trailer instead of we're building a completely separate house to replace a trailer. And I don't see anything in the zoning ordinance that allows for the expansion upward. So with the 2-story being proposed on this, I'm going to say there was a valid objection from abutters.
There is no undue nuisance or serious hazard to pedestrian or vehicular traffic, including the location and design of access ways and off-street parking. Nothing is changing in my mind in regards to this lot. And as far as the structures are concerned and the parking location, I understand at any point in any property there can be an overabundance of vehicles, but I don't believe there's any undue nuisance or serious hazard.
No, I agree. I agree for the same reasons.
I also agree there's no undue nuisance or serious hazard to pedestrian or vehicular traffic. The only evidence we have is that there would be adequate parking for this structure. So I agree, there's no undue nuisance.
I agree.
Adequate and appropriate facilities and utilities will be provided to ensure the proper operation of the proposed use or structure. The applicant is applying for state-approved septic system.
Already have approval.
Already
You
have
already
it.
have it?
Yep.
You already have it, stand corrected, sorry about that. And you will have all standard electricity and meet everything, all for code, all modern code, all brought up to state and town standards of all aspects of electricity and water.
Yep, yeah, it already has a brand new well, and electric has already been updated with new meters.
So I'll agree, there's adequate and appropriate facilities and utilities will be provided to ensure the proper operation of the proposed use.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Whose turn is it? Me?
You.
There is adequate area for safe and sanitary sewage disposal and water supply. There's an approved septic, and you guys have water for this thing, so you meet that criterion.
I agree.
I agree. I believe this is adequate area for safe and sanitary sewage disposal and water.
Okay.
I agree.
Intent. The proposed use of, of this structure I believe is not consistent with the spirit of the ordinance and the intent of the master plan. Although the applicant is going to improve it, there is some inconsistencies in terms of this being really a residence in my mind versus a business. And so I believe that it's not consistent with the spirit of the ordinance nor the intent of the master plan.
Okay, I disagree. The proposed use of structure is consistent with the spirit of this ordinance and the intent of the master plan, and its use is going to be the same. It's going to be, as on record, a long-term lease. So I believe it is consistent.
I also believe that this proposed use and structure is consistent with the ordinance, spirit of the ordinance and the master plan. Again, like I have stated in the past, just a little while ago, that this falls under the guidelines of the master plan of taking a property and making it into a more consistent use for the healthier environment, better for the property owner and for the people living there, to bring it up to code and bring it up. And this is something that we encourage in the town of Alton, to make a better structure out of something that's run down and in disrepair.
I think the idea of having all these structures on the one lot is not something that's in the spirit of the ordinance, but that's been there forever, or at least long enough that even though it's in violation of the ordinance, and the use in this application is not changing. So the proposed use or structure is consistent with the spirit of the ordinance and intent of the master plan. We do permit replacement by special exception.
So, consistent, right? Yes, right, good. Okay. So, can I get a motion? Okay, we have a consensus. Can I get a motion from one of the members, please?
I'd just like that, is there conditions we're gonna
Conditions.
put upon
Conditions,
this
do
Yes.
we want to put some,
It was talked about,
yeah,
and I
Yes.
don't know if we specified conditions in regards to if this passed. So I don't know if we should have a discussion on that.
Let's have a short discussion on that, yeah, and what we would want to put on for conditions.
Oh, okay, before there's a motion?
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest hang-up on this was the expansion upward of this replacement of a structure, and particularly where you're replacing a trailer for a stick-built house. So for me, the expansion upward was the reason I voted against the idea that there was valid objection. I voted that there was. But I don't know whether that's the kind of condition. Perhaps while we were doing this, we should have asked the applicant if
thought of
if that would be considered.
If that would be considered, yeah.
So I think it would be within the board's authority to impose a condition such as that on this application, given the nature of our zoning ordinances that don't address it, and the application being presented to us, but I'd leave that up to you guys.
what kind of a condition is he talking
Uh,
about?
height
Well, that
He's
would
talking
be,
about height.
Height
He's talking about
condition.
height restriction.
I have a question. So we have a certain square footage, right, of what he wants, and it's in a shape, okay? And it's an odd shape, and that's why he wanted to go 2 floors. If we keep the same square footage, but rearrange the shape so that he can get those 2 bedrooms on 1 floor, is that permitted?
If that changes.
yeah, it kind of changes.
I don't see why not.
Doesn't say it has to be in the same footprint, just square footage.
And it's not becoming more non-conforming. It's within the setbacks.
And we're
You're
getting it
pulling
out
it,
of the
you're pulling the
setback.
setback, so that nonconformity goes away. Of the side setback and frontage.
So if the applicant was willing not to go up, but was willing
Well, with
to,
the grades and everything, he's still gonna have a walkout basement. He's just gonna have, and then the second floor, or the first floor. He's just not gonna have that second floor.
Right.
if he didn't have the second floor, so the height would be at what point? About
The same 18.
Same, about 18
same,
feet.
about
Yeah.
18
Seven-
feet.
18
Yeah,
feet.
because you'd have your walkout
Right.
basement, and then you'd have your upper floor.
So that would keep that pretty much the same. But would that change your parking situation?
No.
That wouldn't
'Cause
change that in
the-
any way?
No, because I would go this way, and then instead of being like a big L, I would take the back part and just put it towards the back, make it a little bit wider. Because it's a weird L shape right now, because
yeah.
it's the addition off of the trailer.
Would you be agreeable to that condition?
If I could do a basement and a 1 floor? As long as I could make it a square, not the same shape? Yeah.
And manage to have your 2 bedrooms?
It'd be tight, it'd be a lot smaller, but yeah, I mean, if I gotta do what I gotta do, like, if I can take the deck space and make that in, then I should be able to make
That's what we
something.
applied for anyway.
Yeah.
And again, also a condition of, which you would have to go for the board to go to get a short-term rental, but not to have any short-term rentals.
I'm good with that.
That this would be a
A
full,
long-term.
full, long-time
Condition of
rental.
a long-term
condition.
rental.
Yeah.
And that never change.
And what about parking?
Well, the parking is adequate for what, 2 vehicles?
I mean, it's
Or 3?
the width from the driveway to the property lines. I mean, if you wanna stack them up, I mean, you could put 6 in there, but, I mean, I'm just saying 3, you know? Cause like I said, I can fit my long work truck in sideways, no problem. So, I mean, that's at least 3
So
cars
if we
wide.
limited the parking to 3
Yeah, that's fine,
parking spaces?
yeah.
3 parking spaces, keeping it the same height as what you have now, and full-time, year-round rental.
Long-term lease.
Long-term,
lease.
long-term. What did I say? Full-term.
Is the applicant,
Long-term.
is the applicant acceptable to those conditions?
I am.
All right,
You good with that?
Tom?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Paul? Mr.
Yes,
Manzioni?
I'm fine. There has to be a motion made that
You wanna
articulates that.
give us a try on the motion?
Go for it.
Well, I would move that we approve the application for case Z2608 on condition that the structure not have a second, not be expanded to include a second floor, that the parking be at least for 3 vehicles, and that the rental use be long-term rental only.
I'll second.
The height would be no more than the height that exists today.
Right,
And
the
I would-
18 feet.
I would amend the motion to include as an additional condition that the height not exceed the current height of the structure of the trailer.
And I'll second that, and amend my second and second that.
Second and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, moving right along. Well, what if it ever exists there now, but I think he said it was 17 feet. Okay, new application Z26-10. That's you, buddy.
That's you.
Thank you.
My wife couldn't be here.
Thank you.
She had to go, help her mother, she fell.
Well, I'm sorry, we can't have this meeting without your wife here, okay?
Actually looking forward to that.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Okay,
Mr.
can we-
Chairman, I'm gonna go for a motorcycle ride, so, no, I'm gonna recuse myself on this application.
You're gonna recluse yourself.
Yes.
We got in a fight at the bar the other night.
Okay, so
He's not gonna tell you who won, okay?
just, we give the applicant the chance not to, because we only have 3 members.
I'm fine with it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Can I just say something, though? I think it kind of stinks that you can't have a conversation with someone on the board to find out exactly what you need to do. Nothing against you, but she's only limited to what she knows, and it's kind of frustrating when you're trying to figure out stuff. Like, you go to the building department, you talk to the building inspector, what do I have to do? And he tells you what you have to do. And when you come in here, it's like coming in here kind of blind.
You don't know what to expect.
You know, you don't know what to expect. And if you can have a conversation with someone on the board and say, what do I need? What exactly do I need? Does that make sense?
It does.
But anyway, you're still
It
not.
does.
It's good, no, but what I don't want is for there to be an appearance that you got some inside
Yeah,
help.
no.
So
Yeah.
we avoid even,
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
want any,
No,
like
no,
if there's an objector who says,
he
no,
told
we
me that.
signed, yeah.
There are
told me
people that ask questions about in general,
Yep.
all the time. That's fine.
And then I'd be the guy
But not your
screwing up
specific
your
Yeah, no,
application.
no. I
Paul,
get
you
it.
said earlier you
So,
don't
I
want to
have a
be his
problem.
friend.
Yeah,
No, I don't want to be his friend.
He hasn't bought me a beer yet anyways.
and I never liked him anyways.
Just
okay,
ask
so,
Frank about
you know,
him.
okay, yeah. And I get,
Can I ask you a quick question? Do you have any relations to anybody from Needham, Massachusetts?
I do,
John Rich?
yes.
I grew up with him. I grew up in Needham, Massachusetts. He was a good friend of
Now
mine.
we have another.
Oh, now we don't have a quorum.
Okay, now we got a problem.
They said to
Okay.
get rid of you.
I'm gonna have to recluse myself. No, look, yeah, I never liked him either, okay, but, no, I just, yeah.
Oh, boy.
All right, where the, I lost, where am I? Okay,
Yeah, we're
can
gonna
we look
review
at-
the application.
We gotta look at the application.
We're gonna
Let us-
accept
give us
it
a
as
second.
complete.
Oh, my
Frank.
God, what a night. We got this Loon Road again. Loon Cove Road.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept case Z26-10 as complete.
Can I have a second?
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Mr. Nostrum, Nystrom, okay,
It's actually
please.
John Flukager. My wife is Jamie Nystrom. I'm John Flukager.
Okay, John, okay,
So if I could start off just by showing you the plan, because
Yes.
sure.
the conservation, and I don't think it was clear on the, this is the original house, and that's the original garage right there. Okay? And what I want to add to it is a lean-to to the right of it. And this is the proposed plan we brought to you guys
Yeah,
last fall.
yeah.
For the zoning and got it approved.
Yeah.
Right.
Since then, we decided to do a lean-to, and that's what I asked him about, was do you amend it, or do you have to go redo the whole thing again?
Yeah.
And he's the one that told me you had to go do the whole thing.
Now, on that map, so Jesus Valley is over here?
Jesus Valley, right here. This is
Gotcha.
Loon Cove, 11D going this way.
Yeah.
This is Loon Cove.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
And we're the only ones here on the highway, I don't
Right.
remember.
Yeah.
I told you guys the
Right,
handicap ramp.
right,
Yeah.
Right.
You need it?
No.
we got it.
And there is a picture of the proposed, just so you know, too, on the new structure, my kid did that when they had.
Okay.
That's the original garage, that's not gonna be there.
Okay.
It's just gonna be the lean-to on
Just
the
the lean-to on the side.
Just this lean-to.
Just the lean-to.
Okay, great. Okay, John, go ahead, is that it?
That's it,
Okay, that's it.
that's it,
Okay, all right, that's it
for today.
for today. So, you're proposing that you want to put this lean-to?
Yes.
Okay? Is the garage up already?
The garage is there. I put a,
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I saw the garage.
yeah, we put a second floor on the garage
Yep.
2 years ago.
Yep,
And the biggest reason we didn't do it at the time is because we had to go through DES if we disturbed any of the land. So we said, you know what, let's just put up the garage. I put the second floor on the garage.
okay.
And then when we did the house, we went through the whole zoning thing. I wish we had done it the last time we were here.
All right, so my question is this, John, okay? That truck, was that an AI too? Because I don't think it can fit through
If
the
you don't
pillars.
approve it, you can't imagine what my
Doesn't look
kid
it.
can do with pictures.
I mean, is he okay? All right, you know,
You can't give a variance for the truck.
No.
He couldn't get, he couldn't, it was fighting with him. I couldn't believe he got the stonework. The stonework's already there. I
yeah.
couldn't believe he got the
The
stonework.
stonework is great,
Wow,
okay?
wow, he
But
did- he
the
did
truck,
good.
the truck, we know it can't get in there.
can't get in there,
Okay,
no.
can't get in, okay. And if it did get in there, I want to meet that driver, okay? All right, so, all right. Any questions for John? That's all you want to do is the lean-to?
Just the lean-to.
Just to-
Okay, then
for
we
the
haven't got,
record-
we haven't
Put
got
some
any
recessed
setback
lights in there,
issues?
whatever.
All the setbacks are correct?
Everything is original that's there. It's not, I'm still, it's probably, I would imagine, because the way the back of that garage is. So it's actually, So it is actually, it is outside there. It is outside. Yeah.
And that is the reason you're here. It's already a non-conforming structure.
Yes.
And you're adding on to the non-conforming structure. In this case, this is a very unique piece of property where you really stranglehold because of the lack of property.
I mean, it's
And,
pretty narrow.
you know, I went by
Put a
there.
bowling alley in.
Yeah, I went by there, I think others did as well, and it's,
Well, I was thinking more of a bocce court, but, you know.
Well, you know something, everybody
can be.
kept asking me what I was gonna do, and I said, I'm torn between 40B or a bocce court. And they looked at me, they go, really?
I would've voted for the bocce court.
surprising.
Just for the record, this is an addition lean-to to an existing non-conforming garage that is going to be 13 by 22.
Yes.
And that's what you're adding on
Yes.
to the side of the existing garage.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions from the board?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna,
No,
yeah, any more?
Well, there was just one comment, I thought I'd read in the record from the Conservation Commission, that the sketch of the lien does not show the relationship to the garage. Shouldn't this be on the proposed condition?
They never got a picture of any of that. They didn't get any pictures like you guys got.
Okay, so they
had no
didn't get
idea.
that, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, and we
Okay.
talked today, and I know I still have to go to DES,
Right.
and get it approved from them.
So you're gonna need to go to DES?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So
So
that
we're
was
gonna
the-
have to put a condition that
Yep.
if this is approved.
Yes.
Okay, that one of the condition will be that you have to get the approval from DES.
DES, yes.
Okay?
Yep.
All right?
Absolutely.
They didn't get this, but they had questions about the amount
No.
of the area and impervious area.
So, I had just gotten a letter today from Conservation. If I had known about it before, I would have given them the same thing I gave you guys, you know, just showing you everything that we're trying to do, because they had no idea that there was an existing garage there. Wasn't that correct in the letter? That they said you're putting a lean-to and they couldn't see an existing garage on whatever they saw.
Correct.
So,
They got the plan, sir.
They did?
The department heads generally get the plan and the narrative.
oh, I thought you said to me that they didn't get it, that's why they.
They got the plan and the narrative. I don't generally send pictures. I don't send a lot of extras to the department heads. All the department heads get a copy of the plan proposal and a copy of the narrative, which is the explanation.
I think you actually
I
said
said-
they
I had
couldn't
s-
see the garage on there, right?
I had a hard time
Yeah,
seeing
seeing
the
the garage,
garage myself, or seeing where the lean-to was, because you had one on
That's why I
one.
separated in the picture. I put the first one
Yep.
with the garage, and then actually, the first one with the lean-to, and the second one with the garage, so it would be easier for you to see.
And did you say you just heard from them today?
No, I just gotten a letter
Oh,
today
oh,
from
okay.
Conservation. But I don't think that affects anything, correct? Other than I have to go to DES?
It's an opportunity, I send out the reviews, it's an opportunity for you to be able to have a chance to look at it, to address it.
Oh,
Before you come.
Yep.
But, you know,
Normally, you would get that sooner.
mail is slow.
well, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, it didn't affect anything, because I think basically it pretty much says that I have to go to DES, though, doesn't it?
I believe, I gave you a copy of
Yeah,
the
it
department head
pretty
review
much says that I
today.
have to go to that it has to be approved for the,
I think that was one of their concerns.
Tom, any more questions?
No, I'm good.
Paul? No. Okay. All right, I'm gonna open it up to public input. Is there anybody in the audience, okay, that is in favor of this
Where did the rest of the neighbors
application?
go?
left. They were afraid of me.
Okay.
I charge them a toll when they drive by my house.
Seeing none, hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that is opposed to this application? Yeah, yeah. Huh, you want to see a bocce court, right? No, okay. Okay. Seeing none, hearing none, I'm going to close public input. Anything else you want to say to us, John,
No,
before we
basic-
get
no,
to this application? Okay, great. Let's get to the application. I'm going to ask you, Paul, to start first.
Sure. The variance, I'm sorry, hold on. Yep. Sorry. The variance will not be contrary to the public interest.
I agree.
I agree as well.
The request is in harmony with the spirit of the zoning ordinance and the intent of the master plan with the convenience, health, safety, character of the district within which it is proposed. The applicant has this long, narrow piece of property. It's really not conducive to do a whole lot of things on it, and I think this is exactly the kind of spirit of the ordinances and the master plan that says that and it's certainly not going to affect convenience, health, and safety and the character, of the area. As a matter of fact, it will enhance it.
I agree.
I agree for the same reasons.
Oh, my God.
Substantial justice, by granting the variance, substantial justice will be done. This, like Frank says, very narrow parcel of land, and the current structures there looks fantastic, and this will enhance the property, and I believe substantial justice will be done.
I agree, that substantial justice will be done.
I agree.
Value of the surrounding properties, the request will not diminish the value of the surrounding properties. If anything, this will enhance and look better as far as the neighborhood is concerned.
I agree.
I agree, it will not diminish.
All right. Oh, I hate this one. For purposes of the subcategory, unnecessary hardship means that owing to the special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the application, and the specific application of this provision to the property. Yes, and a proposed use is a reasonable one. Yes, this property is very narrow. The hardship is obvious that the applicant can only do certain things on this property because of the setbacks and everything else, including DES. So I think the hardship is very obvious.
Yeah, I believe there's no fair and substantial relationship in regards with the general public. It's the same use, and it's a reasonable one, so I agree.
I agree as well, for both reasons.
Okay, so, I got all yeses. Isn't that interesting? And this guy's from Needham? Okay, and we gave it all yeses?
Long way from Kansas.
Yeah. Okay, so, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion with conditions to accept case Z 26-10 with the condition of the approved DES plan approval. And that was the condition that I have to add on to that.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, great, thank you.
Is that quick or what?
That's it.
Very good.
You guys owe me big time. I knew that first one was gonna be long. Have a good summer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Now we got the problem, people.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I can see this.
That one in particular.
This is not good. Okay, not good. I think,
Oh, boy.
we got a
Here we go.
problem here. We got a problem. All right. Moving right along, we have Z, 26-11, Monty and.
I just go
Donna come in? Oh, that's a beautiful name. Thank you.
Yes,
Right,
she should
okay.
be approved just on
And
her name.
agent is Crystal Eastman Viney Esquire.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, good evening. I'm an attorney up in Ossipee, but I am kindly here this evening to represent my
Well,
clients.
welcome, all of you.
Yeah.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I apologize, I went to the bathroom at the beginning of the last presentation, so in my experience, a lot of times I'll just go through and read what we've written for the application, but I think I'll let you proceed and then you tell me what you want me to do.
Okay, so
Okay?
we just
We're
need
gonna
to,
accept it first.
You gotta
we need
accept
to
it first.
approve it, the application that it's complete, and then we can kind of take it from there. All right, and thank you for coming, and I'm sorry you had to wait so long, but, yeah, these things can
Understandable.
happen. That was a very difficult
It was.
situation. You can see
I wouldn't be surprised
We-
if they appeal.
we,
Yeah.
we struggle sometimes, we struggle sometimes with something like that, and it's a very difficult one to try to accommodate
Lots of pieces.
the applicant for what they want and what they're seeking, and if they're, as Paul has said, if it's in the criteria, we can only work from the criteria. Sometimes that can get very emotionally charged, you know?
Completely understandable. The fact was that they were expanding what the criteria was, and you tried to explain that, and they just didn't understand that. And on top of it, I mean, the master plan really does talk about productive use of land. And to make something aesthetically pleasing and better for the neighborhood, they talked about how serene the neighborhood was, and then they talked about how terrible it was. It was so contradictory.
It was kind of, I'm
It was
glad.
very unusual
I'm
to
glad
hear
you-
that.
I'm glad you caught that, and that's why I asked all of the applicant, people that were were those trailers there when you bought the
Yeah.
land, you know? So you gotta take some responsibility that things are gonna happen.
I thought you handled it very well. Like, I really do. I think you took the time to explain to people, and whether they understood it, I
Well,
think you did a good job. But they'll
That-
probably will appeal.
That in itself is very interesting, because usually, I'm very confused when Attorney Manzioni, okay, goes and explains things, okay, and
Well, don't misrepresent what she said.
Okay.
She didn't say you weren't confused.
I thought
She
Attorney
knew
Manzioni
you were
was very clear and concise.
Yeah, because he usually confuses me all the time. Okay, so, anyways.
All right.
The
On that note,
application?
I'd like to accept case Z 26-11 as complete.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Crystal, you're up.
Yes, so definitely, let me know, I mean, do you want me to go through and read what I've written? Or what would you like me, you tell me what you want me to do, and I'm happy to accommodate.
Why don't you give us instead of reading the whole thing and it's a record, why don't you just tell us what you're looking for?
Absolutely. Okay, so my clients purchased this beautiful piece of property. As you go around the traffic circle, it's like almost the first piece of property right there. 32 Suncook Valley Road. And then they purchased the property directly behind it, which was a peninsula-shaped landlocked parcel. And because it was landlocked, they need an easement to get to the back. But now they own both parcels, and they'd like to put an easement to get back there, and only for the purpose of building a residential dwelling. At this point in time, we can't really discuss the residential dwelling because they need an easement to get there. And according to the zoning ordinance, you can't do anything back there without the easement, and in order to get the easement, you've got to get a special exception, so that's why we're here. So we have had a survey done, multiple surveys actually, and then one to literally show where the proposed easement would be. I know that I note in here that the purpose of the zoning ordinance and also of the master plan is productive use of the land, and putting a residential dwelling back there would be productive use. I don't believe there's gonna be any expansion of anything as far as any more traffic or causing any safety or health or welfare issues. The property is currently zoned commercial and residential, so the traffic that is going by there right now will be the same amount of traffic. You know, they're just asking for a driveway to get to the back parcel. The previous owner had noted, and I'm sure anybody in this area would probably know that when they redid that bridge construction right there on Route 28, they actually used that back parcel of land. They went over this non-existent easement, which we're asking to make an easement. They used that back parcel to store materials and supplies. So they were actually using heavy equipment, dump trucks and the like, to get back there. So I did put that in there, noting that the easement was strong enough to hold that at that point in time. We do understand there's going to be other things that they need to jump through, hoops they need to jump through in order to actually get the easement. But right now, they're asking for the right to have the easement there based on the proposal put in the plan, and also based on what we've put in our application. I know that there was a couple of things that were pointed out that we received this morning. One of them was the Conservation Commission indicating that, I thought was a little strange, said that it seemed it seemed too soon to be asking for an easement because you don't know what they want to use the land for. But the application states many times, including my letter, which they signed indicating I was their agent, that they want to put a residential dwelling back there. So I'm not sure why it seems too early to ask for it. We can't do anything back there until we get the easement to begin with. Second, the other issue was with the ability to put get a fire truck back there, which we understand is completely necessary. Obviously, that would be against the ordinances if we couldn't get that back there. That would affect the public safety. And in this situation, we know that dump trucks have been brought back there. Most dump trucks are 80,000 gross, vehicle weight. They want something that can, like a fire truck is 67,000.
67,000.
Yep. So I don't think that that's going to be a difficult situation, but obviously my clients are willing to jump through whatever hoops are necessary to make that easement area strong and, not affecting any, shorelands or wetlands or anything like that. So if it needs to be strengthened up or barriered up or put something in there that's gonna make it, because it's a small area, it's not a big right of way. It's very small because it's still on the land, so they're not gonna be filling in any wetlands or anything like that. I believe it should be on the survey. The big thing about it too is we show the area where on the survey where the easement would actually be, but really what they want to do is just expand their driveway. So their driveway goes in where it is right now, actually, and so it might actually go in around. And we drew it on the plan. It would go in around the building and then go to the back. But for the purpose of if it was to ever be sold in the future, the back lot was to be sold, we would like that easement area to actually, have that from the road. They have contacted New Hampshire DOT, the curb cut has been approved. There's no expansion of the use or anything like that because it's just residential dwelling back there, but it hasn't been used. But right now, for what they're using it for, no problem with the New Hampshire DOT. I don't know if I'm missing anything.
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question, if you don't mind? So you've got two separate lots of record,
Yes,
okay? One of which is landlocked.
correct.
It needs an easement, the landlocked lot needs an easement to gain access to the public way, the road, 28, I guess, in this
Absolutely,
case.
under
Correct.
the Article 300, Section 328.
Yeah, so, no, that's what I was gonna get to next, right?
Yep.
So, you go to the owner, which happens to be you anyway, and you buy an easement, and you're no longer landlocked, and you have that. I would imagine that that's a transaction that can take place without any town involvement. It's a sale of land between two private individuals. You just happen to be both of them, but,
Exactly.
so you sell yourself an easement, you've
Yep.
got an easement, right?
Yes.
Why, I don't understand what special exception has anything to do with any of this, because I'm looking at non-conforming lots. I don't even know what that means in this context, but, I mean, is the lot that is trying to acquire the easement a non-conforming lot?
Yes,
And because it doesn't have road frontage?
correct. It doesn't
Okay.
have the required
Was
amount of
the-
road frontage.
Was this all one lot at one time?
No, well, it may have been, but no, actually, because
It's two separate lots of
it's
record,
always been two
right?
separate lots of record, yes.
So, and the structure's already on it?
There's no structure.
Okay, there's no structure.
There's
So-
never been a structure.
There's never been a structure. So, in order to, you want to build a structure?
Yes,
So in order to build a structure, it can't be landlocked?
correct.
But wouldn't that be a variance? I mean, because if you have you want a buildable lot that doesn't have the required road frontage, and our zoning ordinance requires you have road frontage, so wouldn't you get a variance, and as part of your variance application, say, by the way, I'm gonna have an easement. A lot of times, by the way, if there was two private parties, two separate, instead of you would make the deal and say, I'm gonna buy this subject to the town of giving me a variance to allow me to have a buildable lot just by using an easement to gain my road frontage. But when I read this non-conforming lot, 320F, which it's horribly written, by the way.
Right.
Horribly written. I don't, what happened to all you people writing these? I got off the ZAC committee for how many years? And you guys came up with this language. It's like, we have no...
Specifically states.
Yes, please, and I'm sorry to be flippant, but I just...
No, it's not a
yeah.
problem. Section F, non-conforming lots. A single-family residence may be erected on any legally existing lot that is non-conforming due to inadequate frontage and/or lot size below the required minimum, provided the lot meets all other applicable requirements of this ordinance and all necessary state and local permits are obtained. Any other use must first obtain a special exception from the Zoning Board of Adjustment. So that's why we're here.
That's a part I don't understand, so...
I didn't write the ordinance.
No, I know, but I'm asking you, I'm asking you, like, because you interpret it as requiring a special exception. Any other use? So in other words, if a use other than single-family residence,
Well, I think
is that what we're talking about here?
Well, no, but I think they're saying that the use right now is going to be for the easement, like a right-of-way to get over it.
No.
To get there.
No, but we're talking about the non-conforming lot, right? Which is
The back piece.
the back
Yes.
piece.
Correct.
That's landlocked.
Yep.
That's what makes it non-conforming, it doesn't have the frontage. Okay, and it says you gotta have all other requirements of the lot. It's gotta be a buildable lot in all other ways.
Absolutely.
In other words, you got a building envelope, or whatever you wanna call it, a building area. You can meet setback requirements and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so you have that. But it's talking about a single-family residence may be erected on any legally existing lot that is non-conforming. So even if you have a non-conforming lot, you get to erect a single-family residence on it, okay? And if it's non-conforming due to inadequate frontage, lot size, or required minimum, provided you meet all other requirements, and then it says any other use, which to me means other than a single-family residence, must first obtain a special exception from the zoning board. So it seems to me, the way this is written, they're saying it's okay to build a single-family residence on a non-conforming, on any legally existing lot that is non-conforming due to inadequate frontage or lot size. So what's inadequate frontage is your problem, right? Your lot size is not a problem. I'm not understanding.
No, I appreciate your interpretation,
Yeah.
because I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean,
When
Yeah,
we reached out to the town and asked the question,
Right.
this is what we've got, it's landlocked, and then we were told this is the process that we needed
to
to go
do
through.
a special exception.
So-
Yes.
And I don't blame them for saying that, because I'm not sure that the language on this is all that clear.
Right,
And
it's
I can
confusing.
certainly appreciate everybody, and the effort is better made than not made, so it's good that you're here.
Agreed.
And that you have a well-done application for our consideration. It's just sitting here as a member of the board, which they're gonna be very unhappy that I was the alternate tonight, and they had to appoint me. I just don't know under what zoning ordinance we're going to be saying that you need a special exception, and then deciding how you meet the criteria of that special exception. Because this doesn't,
So
the
essentially,
zoning
there's,
ordinance doesn't prohibit you from buying an easement.
okay,
You know, I mean, that's lawfully allowed, you know, you buy an easement.
Yeah.
But normally, then you would say, well, I can't build a house because I don't comply with the frontage requirements, which would normally mean you gotta get a variance and say, I don't have any road frontage, but I do have an easement, so can I have a variance? And that's how typically these have always happened. But now, with this language, you're coming in for special exception. So
And you're probably right.
So
we
I'm
probably-
lost.
So be it, yeah.
Probably
it's-
do not
it's right
need
there.
that, but it was recommended by the building
Yes,
inspector.
oh no, I
so-
get it.
And the language is a little, I mean, I think it's ambiguous in the sense that maybe it shouldn't be, written in that way, which I think you're saying.
I am.
It's like a bar exam question to me.
So
Are we okay?
no, I have no idea. I mean, frankly,
Well-
what are you thinking? What special exception are they applying for under this? It says,
To me, I
To
read it that they
inadequate
don't need
frontage.
a special exception.
no, but it says, a single-family residence
residence
may be erected. Okay?
on any
So in
illegal-
other words, they're saying, go ahead and do it. And then it says here, any other use
I know.
must first
be
obtain.
obtain a special
so-
Any other than a
so-
single-family residence.
Right, so if you weren't, let's say they wanted to put a building for a store, okay? Now they gotta come in for a special exception and say, I have an easement, can I erect a building for a store here? But this one specifically says a single-family residence may be erected. So why do they need the special exception?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So we just pack up and head to
Well,
the
I
house.
don't-
So are we, yeah,
I hate to
good?
ruin this for everybody.
Well,
but-
I don't think it's a ruin.
No,
But I
So
mean,
now, what is the applicant, let's just say that you don't need a special exception.
Right.
What you need is a variance.
well, I
Well,
don't even
maybe.
know if they need a variance,
because-
because it permits it.
What he's-
It said a single-family residence may be erected on
But
any
did we bring
legally
this applicant
existing
here for
lot.
nothing?
It's permitting it.
It's permitted.
You can do it. You can build a
So,
single-family
You may not have to
residence
be
You
here
don't
at
need
all.
on
a
a
special
non-conforming
exception.
lot.
Okay?
So what you're saying, it doesn't fall under a variance either?
No,
It doesn't fall
because
under
it's-
any
It's
of
being
them.
allowed.
It's being allowed.
The
But
way it
under
says it
certain
does-
conditions, that is non-conforming, only if it's non-conforming due to inadequate frontage
Mm-hmm.
or lot size, okay, being below the minimum provided, okay? And then, provided the lot meets all other applicable requirements of this ordinance, and all necessary state and local permits are obtained. So the way that's written, we're allowing people to build single-family residences on non-conforming lots if those lots are non-conforming because they have inadequate frontage or they have inadequate size or not the right lot size. This needs to be changed because right now, it's the Wild West. It's free game.
Did that change at all in this book from last year?
I
Did that change in the language?
was on, well, I
I
don't
was
even
not.
remember if I was
I
on
haven't been
Zach
on in a
last
long
year.
time.
I-
This is,
this is
page
straight
25.
from the website.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Right.
We're
But-
looking at the official,
I want to see it.
But as far as guidance, here we sit today, right?
right.
Right.
Special exception isn't needed because the language that's noted actually proves their case that it's not needed. Okay? With that being said, so maybe we can clear up confusion going forward, their next step is to get an approved easement.
Well, they
We just granted ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they already have one.
they can purchase an
You
easement.
can grant yourself the
Yeah.
An
easement.
easement.
Absolutely.
And I think DOT is going to have something to say about whether that same curb cut is okay to accommodate now an entirely separate lot.
And they have weighed in
Because
on that.
it was approved for one lot, and now you're gonna have two lots using that curb cut. So DOT may want to
had a
weigh
similar
in on
situation
whether
as in
you
Bay
should
Hill
have
Road.
two separate lots using
Upper
the
Bay
same
Hill.
curb cut.
Oh, right.
But
Very similar to that. The property in the back was, they had a shared driveway in the lot in the back.
I mean,
It
what
was
if
a
this
similar-
gets denied, you know, and then you're gonna stop, or is it you're gonna go on
that's the-
appeal, or, you know, so, I mean, I just don't, I think that is a priority for Zach this year, to take a look at that ordinance and see whether that's what really was meant to say, that it's okay to build a single-family residence on a conforming lot, as long as the non-conformance is because of road frontage, which, by the way, is the one non-conforming thing that most often happens, and they come for a variance when that happens.
May I say, within the last 3 months, we had a similar case that had 2 existing properties on a lot, and they wanted to put a third.
Right.
And the third was,
here for
you were
that.
here for that,
Right.
and they were shared
Yeah, shared driveway.
They
shared
wanted to
driveway
share
to
it.
get to the
Right.
third
Right,
lot.
right.
That was a special exception.
Okay, so, am I understanding that
Landlocked? No, it wasn't
we're saying to the
landlocked.
applicant?
No.
Wasn't it?
No, because
No.
they would have had access under
Oh,
Route
from-
28.
From 28.
But they
Yes,
wanted to
yes.
take access from that other road.
They didn't wanna
So
have
that-
access from 28.
That lot was not non-conforming because of lack of frontage. They just didn't want to be
They
putting
couldn't.
traffic
They-
out
they
on 28.
couldn't- They couldn't gain access on 28 because the state wouldn't allow it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So it's basically a hardship right there. They couldn't,
Yeah.
they couldn't gain access there, so they had to use it and come through the same driveway on Bay Hill Road.
All right, so let's get back to the applicant
Yeah,
here.
sorry.
What are we going to say to the applicant that they do not need, that they absolutely do not need this special exception because of how we read the ordinance?
Rather than make that definitive statement, I think we would say that we're not able to identify what zoning ordinance the special exception application is being brought under, okay? And therefore, I mean, we can't, I wouldn't deny it. I don't know. It's,
Well, what's there to deny at
Right.
this
Yeah,
point?
we don't,
right.
Paul.
To me, this goes away.
Yeah.
The application's withdrawn, it's not needed, there's nothing in there. You guys, all 4 of you pretty much
I would
agree.
recommend to the applicant, okay, because we certainly don't want to deny it, okay?
Oh, no. We haven't even gone through it yet, but, yeah. But I think if the
But
applicant
according
is,
to this, it's an allowable,
Yeah,
I think if the applicant
It's allowable
wants to
use.
withdraw the application, that's fine. Then there's no action on the part of the board for or against. And down the road, if it becomes a problem, you know, it can be addressed. I don't want to see you lose any time, but I just, if I'm to sit here and try to decide, you know, how this fits into a special exception, I don't see anything in the zoning ordinance that this application falls under, so that's my first problem.
So probably it would be best to withdraw it, create your easement. If I were you, okay, I'm,
No, I-
you know,
I
and I'm not you.
completely agree.
Okay, create your easement, okay, and talk to the state, okay, about the road cut.
Yep.
You know, and utilizing 2 homes on it, which I gotta wanna believe they're not gonna have too much of
Done
an
it
issue
already,
there.
right? Yeah.
You know, okay, and from our perspective, in my perspective personally, it would be that you don't need a variance or a special exception, period, you know, because you own both properties.
no, that's great, I appreciate
And then
it.
if
It
you
makes
want to,
sense. It
you
makes
put the
sense.
home up, or you want to sell the lot,
Yeah.
you've sold it with the easement, and you have the approval from the state that that road cut can be utilized.
Yeah. No,
Does that make sense?
completely agreed. But yep,
Absolutely, but-
absolutely.
Now, I mean, there are sometimes I don't make any sense, but I think, you know, okay.
No, we agree with you. It's just that in this situation, this is advised what we were to do,
You know,
so
and,
better safe than sorry.
and I gotta tell you, the minute Monzioni was off what we call the ZAC committee, we
because of
started to have
paperwork and
issues,
everything that's
okay, because he reads every word and he makes sure, well, what about this, what about that, you know? Me, I get confused about where I'm at, never mind anything else.
I appreciate how it was read. That's how I interpreted it. It was a little confused, but we were kind of guided down this path, as this is what
Yeah.
we needed to do.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry
Sorry
about
for
that.
the
No, no,
inconvenience.
yes.
Sorry for
No,
the
it's-
inconvenience.
That language was actually bolded, special exception, you need
so
to it.
anyways, we're happy to
So I need you to
forward.
tell me that you want to withdraw.
Yes, please withdraw our
Okay.
application.
Yes.
Great. So we accept your withdrawal, okay? And have a great day and good luck, okay?
Thank you very much.
No, we
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's a
Definitely.
long evening to hear that, but
I know that we've got other,
Is there enough room on that lot for a bocce court? Oh, no.
I'm hoping.
Yes. Maybe, there may be more.
Okay, okay. Right on where the easement is gonna be, right? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pre-
It is fun.
Yeah, appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along to the next part of the agenda. Wherever my agenda is, here somewhere. What's, juice.
Yep, yeah, public hearing for adoption.
Public hearing for adoption of the Town of Alton ZBA updated application fee
Yes.
sheet. We got that? Mm-hmm. What's that all about?
Well, this is the acceptance of public hearing to consider the adoption of the amendment for the Town of Alton zoning board, of the amendment of the proposed new prices.
Okay. Do we need to vote on something on this, or no? We do?
If I may clarify for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
When a change comes before the board, I brought the change last month before the board, and then once the board agrees that the change is okay, then it gets set up
Goes
for
to public.
gets set up for public hearing.
Okay.
Okay,
So, and everybody's been properly notified in public.
It's been notified in public places and within the
Okay.
newspaper
So we just did do the formality
of.
for the camera.
Of approving that the changes are, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just read through it. We can make a motion.
yeah.
Yep.
You go.
Yeah, notice is hereby given a public hearing to be held on Thursday, May 7th, 2026, at the Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting starting at 6 PM in the Alton Town Hall as follows. A public hearing to consider the adoption of the proposed amendment to the Town of Alton Zoning Board of Adjustment Appeal Application Guide. The proposed amendment includes updates to the application fee schedule. The full text copies of the proposed appeal application guide fee sheet is available at the Town Hall Planning Department, free of charge, during regular business hours, or on the town's website at www.alton.nh.gov, and will be available at the public hearing. Sincerely, the Alton Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Do you want to state the actual fees themselves?
Sure.
Okay, one of the first fee that'll be changing would be to, for the abutters and other individuals' notices, from $6 to $10 per abutter. And the notice of decision from, $1 to $2 per applicant, owner, agent. And newspaper notice going from $75 to $90.
Okay, and this was previous, just for everyone's sake, this was previously approved at last meeting. This is just the public hearing on it, so I don't even think we need to take a
Okay.
motion.
Seeing no one in the public, can we close the public?
Yes,
Okay? And are we all set?
yes.
Okay, great. Next on the agenda,
Approval of the minutes.
previous, okay, public hearing, previous business, new business, none. Okay, that I know of, approval of minutes.
And I was here, Paul LaRochelle, and Paul Manzioni.
Yes, so that's a quorum in order to approve it. And I went through it, I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything egregious on it.
Okay, can I get a motion to
I'll
approve?
make a motion to approve the zoning board of adjustments, Thursday, April 2nd meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
It's not noted on there, but we'll just do it just based upon the lack of members tonight, but
Yes.
we're supposed to take a vote as far as the members.
Right, I'm recommending that the full board be here.
Yes.
Okay, when we,
Yes.
when we make the change, so that both Tim and Joe are available, okay?
I'd like to make a motion that we continue the election of board officers until the next scheduled meeting next month, sir. I so move.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Gee,
Mr. Chairman.
Thank
I would
you.
also like to make another motion that we adjourn, sir.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Monzioni. My God. Whew. Okay, Robin, thank you. Nice job.